I spent a long time thinking about doing something, but I didn't actually do it. And this is what distinguishes you from somebody else entirely, because most people will never do anything about their ideas. Hello and welcome to Not Your Forever Job, the show that helps you figure out what you actually want to do in your career and how to make it happen. I am Hayley LOREN, an engineer and career coach. And today on the show, I'm really excited because I am answering one of your questions. So we are chatting all about creating the career that you want and actually how to make it happen. So I want to thank Laura for getting in contact with this question, okay? Hey Hayley, I've been in my job for 4 years and realised it doesn't actually fulfill me. I have some idea about my direction and I am ready to start making changes. I'm just wondering, what are the most important strategies or elements to actually having and creating a fulfilling career? Wow, Laura. Okay, so this is such a big question and I feel like I could kind of go on and on about it for ages. What I've done is I've kind of thought about the 3 key strategies that I think are the absolute most important and will actually kind of point you in the right direction. Okay, so strategy number 1 is follow the fear. Now, the reason why I say this is because often when you're in a career and you've been doing it for a long time, you kind of feel safe and you kind of feel comfortable and you might end up kind of avoiding the things that scare you. Now, the amazing thing is that your gut, that gut instinct that you have deep down, is really usually quite tuned in to what it is that you find important and what you want to do. And usually when you really care about something, it's when that fear factor is there, you know, when you get the butterflies and you kind of feel excited and really scared at the same time. And it's so important to start following that. So instead of going after kind of like comfort and ease and security, it's to kind of point in the direction of fear and use it as a compass because it's such a telling sign. And this is something that I did. So for much of my career, I spent 5 years being unhappy in kind of a job, but I stayed there because, you know, I felt scared about leaving and I felt kind of comfortable and I didn't really know what to do. And then after a bit of like some time off and feeling kind of a bit burnt out and stuff, I kind of thought, you know what? F it. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to start doing things that scare me. And I did comedy gigs. I did kind of presenting in front of people on stage, which absolutely terrified me when I first started doing it. I did some TV stuff and I just got involved with as much stuff that I could do and kind of used it as a playground. And from that, I started to kind of realize what I enjoyed. And even though I can't tell you how scared I was to kind of reach out of my comfort zone, but doing that and following the fear is what kind of catalyzed everything. And it all snowballed from this one moment that I remember where I was terrified, but I decided to basically sign up for an acting class. And everything in my career so far stems from that one moment where I decided to follow a fear and to follow my gut and do something that scared me. So that is the number 1 thing. So if you feel scared about applying for jobs, you need to be applying for jobs. If you feel scared about kind of putting yourself forward to do a presentation, do it. Everything that you feel scared by, or, you know, that isn't that isn't dangerous, you need to do. Get out of your comfort zone. It's the biggest thing that is going to shake you. And when you do it, it's like shedding layers because suddenly you realize how capable you really are and you realize what you're passionate about and what's important to you. So face those fears. Don't live in your comfort zone. This is the absolute number 1 strategy, I think, for actually creating the career that you want. A truly fulfilling career has to kind of scare you. It has to make you feel a bit alive. Otherwise, you're just a zombie. And fulfillment and zombies don't go together, unless you're watching The Walking Dead or something like that. Cool. So I want to point out an episode linked to fear that will be helpful for you. So this is episode 18 and how to grow confidence through challenges. Have a listen to that one. I think it would be really, really beneficial. Okay, so strategy number 2 is having a clear guiding vision. So, you asked a very big question, so it's going to be a big strategy here. You need to understand what brings you purpose and what actually brings you fulfillment to then be able to craft a career based on fulfillment. So the first step is always to look in and to reflect and to start asking you questions about what's important to you? How do you want to show up in the world? What do you envisage for future you? If you met future you in 10 years' time, what would you love her to be like? What would you love her to say? And asking these questions are so important. So it's essentially like it's not a goal, because often, there's a lot of focus on targets and goals and things like that. Goals are more tangible. It's a wishful thinking of, I'm aiming to this. So you could have a goal of becoming a chartered engineer in 5 years' time, right? But your vision is more about what you want to represent as a person, what you want to bring to the world, where you see yourself living, or the way you want to feel when you wake up in the morning. And using that is this beacon, basically, that you're kind of moving towards. That is going to help clear your path, because the thing about crafting a career that you genuinely want is that it is confusing. Often you have no idea where you're heading or what the hell is happening. And often you only see a few steps ahead of you. And that is the scary thing. It's really daunting. And this is why most people stay in secure jobs. It's because they can't handle that fear of the unknown. They want to know that everything's mapped out. And we're so used to mapping out our careers in 5 or 10 years' time of being like, okay, yeah, I'll get that promotion and then I'll become this and then I'll become that. People find that safe, right? It's secure. But when you go off and you craft your own life and your own career, suddenly all of those things fall away. Suddenly, there isn't that obvious ladder. You're kind of adapting and being flexible and moving and adjusting constantly, and that can be scary. So the only way to really guide yourself is to understand where you're heading. But where you're heading doesn't need to be a clear picture of, I am now going to change to be a vet. It doesn't need to be that clear. If you can be clear, that's great. The clearer that you can be, the better. But it's more about, what do you stand for? What do you represent? What do you want for your family? How do you want to wake up in the morning? How much freedom do you want? How much time do you want in the day? Do you want to be able to just get up randomly and go for a bike ride? If that's the case, a 9 to 5 job probably isn't for you, or a company that allows you to work flexibly is more for you. It's understanding what is important to you and really, really digging deep into that. Okay. And to help you kind of answer some of these questions, I would love you just to go back to the very first 2 episodes of this podcast, because I talked all about purpose and making your career count. So that's episode 1 and 2. Definitely listen to those. Let's head on to strategy 3, the last strategy. And once you are kind of following the fear, once you're starting to move out of your comfort zone, and once you've got this vision in your mind, in your gut, in your feeling of where you're heading towards and what it is that you want, then strategy 3 is about taking action and testing. Okay, so this is the step that I know I fell down on for many years. I spent a long time thinking about what I wanted. I spent a long time thinking about doing something, but I didn't actually do it. And this is the difference. And this is what distinguishes you from somebody else entirely. Because most people will never do anything about their ideas. When you're sitting somewhere and someone's like, I thought of that idea. I've got this idea about that. But how often do people actually act on their ideas and do something about it? This is the hardest step, is to actually take action and test. And the reason why people are so scared or don't want to take action is because, as I said, it's about fear. It's about being scared to actually make a change, because change can be really scary. And it's also because they kind of don't know truly what it is that they want or why they want it, right? So it's important to go through the first steps before. So you need to align yourself with your fear, and you need to understand your purpose before you're able to actually take that action. Because if you don't do steps 1 and 2, you're going to fall short. You'll start taking action, but then suddenly it will get too difficult and you'll be like, oh, well, why am I even doing this? And you give up. And then suddenly it's 2 years later and you're in the same freaking job. I'm speaking from experience here, so trust me. So you've got to take small steps, and it can feel like this enormous, terrifying mountain that you have to climb, which is why breaking it down into small actions, step by step, and by small actions, have a coffee with somebody in something that you might be interested in. Brainstorm all of the potential options available to you. Start practicing. If you're into photography, just get out there and practice. Just do it. Make that first step. I remember when I first started thinking about YouTube, right? I thought that I was going to become like a children's science presenter. My idea has completely shifted, right? From when I actually originally left my job. Now I do career coaching. And I never thought that I would do career coaching. I only know that because I took that very first step. And I remember taking my camera out into Hyde Park and doing some horrendous vlogs around Hyde Park. And I was terrified because people were like staring at me. But it was the first step. It was one of those first steps, and it lent into fear, it lent into my purpose, it lent into what I enjoyed, and it was taking action. And this is so important. And you're not going to know straight up what it is that you want to do. It's amazing that you've said that you've got some idea about the direction that you want. So the advice here is to test it out, to just start playing. It doesn't need to be like super serious. Oh, I need to figure out my career direction. This is fun. You want to craft a career that you find fulfilling. This is amazing. Just take it one step at a time. And you've got to release this feeling as well. If you're a perfectionist, I definitely have those tendencies. You've got to release that and think, okay, this is not about being perfect. And I've got kind of a mantra, my own mantra, that I often say to myself because I am a perfectionist at heart. And this is exploration, not perfection. Everything is about exploring. This is what life is about, right? It's about exploring. It's not about the perfection. So if you approach this from an idea of exploration, not perfection, then you're going to be able to start taking steps forward, which is so, so, so important. You have to just do. You've got to stop thinking about it. And you just got to start doing it. And it's in the doing that you start to realize and start to tease out what it is that you truly want and where you truly want to go. Okay. So those are my top 3 strategies. Follow the fear, have a clear guiding vision, and, take action and test out all of your ideas. And this will guide you towards that more fulfilling path. And it's not easy. If you're going to break away from the normal, it's not meant to be easy. And I really, really want to emphasize this, okay? Sometimes showing up for these podcasts can be difficult, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes it can be hard. But I want to show up, and I know why I want to be here, which is why I show up. And it's only because, I'm being a bit lazy that I don't want to show up sometimes. It's not because I don't actually want to be here. And it's so important because I have that why, I have that knowledge that I want to sit here and I want to help you. I want to talk to you and truly help you. And that is what pushes me. That's my purpose. That's what fulfills me. And that's why a bit of laziness or a bit of kind of like, oh, can't really be bothered today, doesn't really get in the way of me taking action and moving forward with what I want to create, because I've got that vision and I've got that kind of purpose behind it. And I know the importance as well of pushing through fear and seeing fear as a positive rather than a negative. And as soon as you kind of flip your mindset to this, it can be so incredibly powerful. So thank you so much, Laura, for your question. I think it was a really amazing one. If you are listening to this and you have a burning question and you kind of want some help on it or some support, then do get in touch. I'll put my email below, which is hayley@hayleyloren.com. Also, if you want some kind of weekly support from me, like additional weekly support, then make sure you sign up for my Career Boost, which is a weekly email that I send out. It's completely free. I send it out on a Monday morning. So you've got your, well, depending on where you are in the world, of course, but it's in the morning here in the UK. So you can get that initial boost for your week, which I think can be so important. And it's also reminding you about these podcast episodes as well, and to tune in for those. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Laura, again. Do get in touch if you've got a question, and I will chat to you next week.